Okay, good evening. Welcome to the emergency city council meeting for the city of Costa Mesa for Friday, March 13th, 2020 at 5 p.m. I am going to read a brief kind of notice to the community because of these unusual circumstances. On March 12th, 2020, Governor Newsom issued Executive Order N2520, which allows council members to attend city council meetings telephonically. And although not applicable tonight, we want to make sure that people know that some or all of the city council members may in the future attend our meetings telephonically. Additionally, if you wish to attend a city council meeting in person, the city council chambers located at 77 Fair Drive, Costa Mesa, California, will be open for the meeting, and the public shall have a right to observe and offer public comment at this location. While you may attend this meeting in person, given the health risks associated with COVID-19, the city wants you to know that you can submit your comments and questions in writing for the city council consideration by sending them to the city clerk at cityclerk@costamesaca.gov. And this is also on our city website, but I just want to make sure that people know we might have a little bit of a change in our protocols under the circumstances. To give the city council adequate time to review your questions and comments, please submit your written comments prior to 5 p.m. When we have meetings scheduled. If you have traveled internationally and/or you have direct contact with someone who has traveled internationally or tested positive for coronavirus, COVID-19, or you are experiencing symptoms such as coughing, sneezing, fever, difficulty breathing, or other flu-like symptoms, please do not attend the meeting in person. You may view the meeting live on Costa Mesa TV, which is Spectrum Channel 3 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99, or you can view the meeting online at youtube.com//Costa Mesa TV. If you go to our city website and you click on Costa Mesa TV, you can see those links. If you are in the group of individuals who may be most vulnerable to COVID-19, including those over the age of 60 and those with underlying health conditions, including but not limited to lung, heart, immune compromise, diabetes, or other conditions that could interfere with your ability to fight COVID-19, please consider carefully before attending this meeting or the Planning Commission meetings in person, and keep a 6-foot distance from others as much as possible. The viewing public cannot see, but in our city council chambers audience, we have taped off seating so that we can try to impose social distancing in the council chambers, just for the most protection for our residents and our people attending the meeting. Having said all that, I'll call the meeting to order and ask the city clerk to read the roll.
Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
Okay, at this time, we'll have public comments. Public comments will be heard. A matter of if you would like to speak to an item that is not on our agenda. Actually, it's the opposite. Sorry. If you would like to speak to the closed session item, we'll be given 3 minutes to speak to that item. And we would ask that you try not to touch the microphone, both because it causes a disruption with the hearing of the sound on the tape, but also just to avoid people touching things. It's a different time. Anyone wishing to speak to us? Okay.
My name is Gary Parkin. I think somebody needs to get up and speak. First of all, I think you're going to probably make the right decisions. There's a lot of things going on, but if you listen to the medical doctors and you listen to what's going on, your first interest is the people of this city, and then yourselves, and then all the city staff. So, Madam Mayor, hopefully you'll make the right decisions, but I'm sure you will. Second part is, I want to thank you personally for coming to our historical preservation 50th, where we went to the Ford dealership. They greeted you well, and we're glad that you came out and saw us and did that day with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I saw the video that everyone did. That was such a nice video. It turned out really nice. Okay, no one else is here to speak, but I did want to let the public know that we did receive a communication from two people. One from Charlene Ashendorf, who is our liaison to the Parks and Community Services Commissioner, Parks, Arts, and, what are we calling it now? Community Services, to liaison to the Senior Center. And yes, we are concerned because we are closing the senior center, but we are trying to make arrangements for meals for our seniors so that, Mr. Parkins, you can pass this along, so that our seniors who are food insecure are fed. That is a priority. I've been actually working on that today. So we will make sure that happens, and we will need to coordinate with the community to try to help those seniors who might need rides for transportation for medical reasons, or might need, trips to get medical supplies. We'll do what we can to try to help. Orange County Model Engineers also sent us a letter informing us that Goat Hill Junction has been canceled. All activities at Goat Hill Junction, the trains, have been canceled through April 30th of 2020. And so we thank them for being good community partners. At this time, we will read the item.
Thank you. Emergency closed session, item 1, threat to security pursuant to subdivision A of section 54957 California Government Code. Consultation with Costa Mesa Director of Emergency Services and City Manager Lori Ann Farrell Harrison. Brian Glass, Police Chief, Dan Stefano, Fire Chief, and Jason Dempsey, Emergency Services Administrator. Thank you.
Okay, we will now recess into conference room 5A. Okay, welcome back. We are now going to reconvene, and City Attorney, is there any closed session report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There is no reportable action taken in closed session.
Okay, and we have 2 items tonight. City Clerk, can you read the titles?
Thank you. The first item is adopt urgency ordinance 2020-07, amending Chapter 1 in general of Title 6, Disaster Relief and Civil Defense of the Costa Mesa Municipal Code relating to emergency preparedness, organization, and coordination.
Okay, Ms. Laura Farrell Harrison, are you leading this? Or
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item that's before you this evening is to adopt the urgency ordinance and the declaration of emergency, basically certifying the actions that were taken by me yesterday to adopt a proclamation that is adopting a local emergency for the purpose of protecting public health and safety and helping to reduce the spread of and transmission potentially of COVID-19. And so if you have any questions, we're here available for any responses.
we're on the urgency ordinance right now, the first one.
So the urgency ordinance, so the 2 items before you is the declaration, and then the urgency ordinance is basically for you to be able to make certain changes to the urgency ordinance. Since the ordinance's adoption many years ago, it's to modernize the ordinance, but most importantly, to allow for the continuation of our local emergency consistent with state law and not having to come back every 14 days so that we're having to meet on a biweekly basis in order to continue the emergency. And since this challenge that we're experiencing right now in this global pandemic is fast evolving, we wanted to make sure that we had flexibility and that we modernized the ordinance to basically have the emergency in place pursuant to state law and requirements and not have to meet every 14 days to allow staff the opportunity, the time to be able to get the work done that we need to do for our business continuity plans and our consistency in operations first and foremost. It also establishes a succession plan for the Emergency Services Director, which is myself. And so it allows for a certain degree of redundancy, and it makes other changes sort of consistent with best practices and existing state law. And I'm open for any questions, and Jason Dempsey is also available for any additional information that you may need.
Ms. Barlow, it sounds like there's some questions at the end of the dais. Is there something you wanted to share?
Yes, I understand that some members of the public have expressed concern or asked questions. I think Councilmember Mansour was planning on raising it. Do you want me to address it now or wait
Yes,
until?
please.
Okay. There's some existing language in the ordinance in Section 6-6, which deals with the powers and duties of the Director of Emergency Services, which include, for example, commandeering property for public use, requiring employees and personnel and citizens to do certain duties. Those are provisions of state law. They are explicitly granted to the local government and through declarations of emergency. There are also provisions that are in the Office of Emergency Services Model Ordinance for local disaster councils and disaster and emergency planning, and that language is in our existing ordinance. It is not part of the proposed recommended changes this evening.
Okay, council members, if you want to have questions in the queue. I know, Councilmember Mar, where are you? You were asking for the motion, not for a question. Okay. Councilmember Mansour.
Thank you. So as our city attorney mentioned, some people raised some questions to me about certain language that we're voting on or supposedly voting on, giving us the ability to commandeer materials and to require people of the community to aid us as we deem necessary. And I guess that language was concerning to some. So my question to the city attorney was it in these staff reports? And the answer is yes, I did see it. But to make sure I understand it correctly, this is something that exists in state law and in our current ordinances. We're just reaffirming or voting on it in order to receive funds.
We are, it's in our state law, it's in our existing code, it's in state law, it is in our existing code, which has been in effect since 1980, and there was probably a predecessor section before that. When we are replacing the entire code through this urgency ordinance, none of that language has changed, but technically you are approving that language in adopting this urgency ordinance. We are really only asking you to change a few provisions and to bring the code up to date.
Right, but that language is in effect, as you said, being reaffirmed.
Yes.
I guess my question is that language necessary? Because this, ultimately why we're here tonight is to vote on this emergency declaration in order to be able to receive reimbursement funds, correct?
That is one of the many reasons we are voting
Okay.
for it, yes.
So is this language necessary tonight to receive those funds? I mean, are we anticipating needing that language at this point?
It's in our existing code. It is something that we would use with restraint. I'm sure Mr. Dempsey may want to speak to this issue, but in my opinion, we should not excise that language from our code.
Okay, but it has been there since you said the 80s?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing no other questions, is, Mr. Dempsey, did you want to add anything? No, okay. Councilmember Mar. Well, it's. Public. Councilmember Mar, it's not, there you go.
I'll move to approve the urgency ordinance, adopt the urgency ordinance.
You're not going to, okay. Councilmember Guinness?
Push it again.
Okay, there. And I'll second.
All right. No one has any further discussion?
Do we need to ask the public, even though there's nobody here?
Nobody here. Okay, call for the question.
Mayor Pro Tem Stevens, please. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay,
And then
item
the-
number 2.
Is adopt resolution ratifying the proclamation declaring existence of local emergency.
Who's presenting? I don't control his microphone. Mr. Dempsey, are you presenting, or is Ms. Farrell Harrison? Who's presenting?
Didn't want to steal Jason's thunder. So this item tonight is basically adopting a resolution that's going to ratify the existence of a local emergency. As mentioned earlier, I did trigger pursuant to Section 6 of the applicable portion of the municipal code, the declaration of a local emergency. The declaration of an emergency has many benefits to the city of Costa Mesa. I'm happy to say that we are the first in the county to declare the emergency, which then triggers certain opportunities for us and also for hopefully partners in the region for us to be able to secure what we need for the city of Costa Mesa by way of reimbursement, supplies and materials for first responders, and many other benefits, additional coordination with Orange County, the Orange County Health Agency, and Cal OES, and the different state agencies that are involved in addressing all of the challenges that we're facing with this pandemic. And so with this resolution and ratification this evening that we're requesting you to please adopt, we'll be able to move forward on a path where our emergency Operations Center is in Level 3 activation, which has been in some time, but we can strengthen our efforts and really start preparing in case the situation worsens. As you know, we do not have, and it's important to stress, we do not have any cases that are known to us of COVID-19 in Costa Mesa, and we do not have any community transmission of COVID-19 either in Costa Mesa or in Orange County at this point. And so, but we are taking aggressive efforts to be a bit more proactive and to make sure that we have the resources that we will need if the situation does worsen, and that we can start collecting the information on any damages and monetary losses that we might have and that our very important stakeholders in the community might have as well. And so there are many benefits of the declaration, and it puts us in a much better place in terms of securing the resources that we'll need. And again, that enhanced coordination with every level of government. And so on behalf of all of the staff, myself, our leadership team, our emergency services administrator, Jason Dempsey, our police and fire chiefs, we ask that you please adopt the resolution this evening ratifying the actions that were taken yesterday related to the local emergency. And with that, I'm open for questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Stevens?
Yeah, real quick. So if we ratify this, obviously at a minimum, it would be effective as of the time that you declared the emergency. But to the city attorney, do we have the option to have an effective date that would be earlier?
We have been unable to locate any provision that allows a local government to make it retroactive. We know that the state has done that in the past. And so we think we will be reaching out to the Attorney General's office tomorrow to see about retroactivity and to see whether we can do that. And if we are able to do that, we would bring that forward to you on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions in the queue and no public comment, close public comment. Council? Councilmember Guinness,
Move to approve.
I second Councilmember Guinness's motion.
call for the question.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.